Now, Burkina Faso's military government says it has foiled yet another major plot to overthrow the junta leader Captain Ibrahim Traore, with the army alleging that the plotters were based in neighboring Ivory Coast. Several officers of the Burkinabe armed forces have reportedly been arrested, and two of them relieved of their duties as coup commanders. Reports say Captain Ibrahim Traore, the transitional president, quickly replaced the arrested officers without specifying their number, following the attempt to discuss the future and what is happening. Dr. David Matsanga is a political scientist and international relations expert speaking to us from London. A very good evening to you, Dr. Matsanga. Thank you so much for your patience and for speaking to us.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Africa and across the globe. I join millions and millions to say the last for Pope Francis.
Thank you very much for that, Dr. Matsanga. So let's just talk about the latest assassination attempt on Captain Ibrahim Traore. Am I correct in saying is it the 18th, or is a figure a lot more than that?
It is a plot that has been thickened. Several plots have been thickened by France and the United States of America. A few weeks ago or a few days ago, the High Command of AFCOM of United States of America, in their congressional appearance, they said they targeted, fingered out Ibrahim Traore, the younger man, who has transformed Burkina Faso, who has made good changes, who has developed roads, schools, hospitals. They fingered him out and they said they should arrest him or kill him, even do anything to him. So we as Africans, some of us who have been to Burkina Faso, are not surprised that this plot is beginning to show, to be exposed. And of course, the two countries, France and the United States, are behind.
And I mean, the fact that he has also spoken about what has been a major discussion and stickler point recently, the issue of tariffs and the cutting of aid to Africa, by saying Africa should reserve its energies for self-development, of ensuring better intra-Africa trade. So he has rather radicalized and also inspired quite a lot of Afrocentric thinking in resolving Africa's problems. The presence of AFRICOM, does that then on the continent, and this has also been a matter of discussion in certain countries, do you think that this is also part of the reasons why AFRICOM has been in some of the African countries where it resides and it carries out what it says are routine military exercises?
Yes, AFRICOM is in Zambia. One wonders where the military base should be in inland, looking for minerals. There is nothing they are doing. There is nothing like they are keeping. There's no peace you are keeping in Congo. There's no peace you are keeping in Lusaka, in Zambia. You are just simply collecting minerals, competing with Chinese. Look, let's be very honest as Africans. South Africa is being targeted according to all these type of things. South Africa is being targeted and being told that you are displacing white commercial farmers. Where is it happening? Lie. So AFCOM, pretending to do military drills, military things, they are just looking for a war. They don't want any African progressive country ever to progress, to challenge their authority. They want us to remain second-class citizens. In the UN, they don't want us even to have a seat everywhere. When you bring something like what Traore has done in West Africa, Madam, if you go there, you wouldn't like to come back to South Africa, because the man has developed the place from a corrupt civilian government. Yes, the AU condemns military coups, but some military juntas are better than civilian corrupt governments. Yes, look at that place. The president there was only stealing uranium, selling uranium at a cheaper price, pocketing money in Switzerland. And this young man came. There is no country in Africa that has got 400 ambulances motorized with doctors and nurses. This country has them. He bought them instead of buying big cars. You know very well ministers in your country drive the biggest cars, bulletproof. This guy bought ambulances instead of those type of cars. He has done very well. And he warned America, if you bring tariffs, let's not trade. We shall also look for other partners where we can trade our diamond, our gold, our minerals, our uranium. Therefore, that is challenging the so-called powers to be.
So you talk about America, but let's talk about the role of France, for instance. One of the first people to reject the presence of the French in Burkina Faso, that is Captain Traore. He is Pan-Africanist, anti-imperialist, like his forefather, Thomas Sankara. But what is there to link the U.S., and if we're talking factually here, the U.S. and France, if a possible protagonist in this coup attempt, with Ivory Coast, because the security forces in Burkina Faso say that the people who are behind the coup are from Cote d'Ivoire.
Yeah, paid by who? Not Cote d'Ivoire. What is Cote d'Ivoire? It's a French puppet. You remember Babugo and Ouattara? It's a French. Ouattara is a French, was installed. I and Mbeki were busy there negotiating peace so that Babugo does not go to the ICC. I remember with President Thabo Mbeki and Chisano, we were in Abidjan. Even we were one of the last group that left Abidjan when the French took sides on Ouattara. So what is in Cote d'Ivoire? It is France. France mans Cote d'Ivoire. France gives Cote d'Ivoire directions. France feeds Cote d'Ivoire. It pays. They pay France. They take everything to Paris, then come back and divide something little. So if the coup originated from Cote d'Ivoire, remember, 3/4 of Burkinabe people are also in Cote d'Ivoire. And it is rumored that Ouattara himself is a Burkinabe. So that is one of the reasons why Babugo and the Burkinabe and Mr. Ouattara went to war, because the original Cote d'Ivoire people said, you are not from our country. So, my sister, there is nothing that cannot be done. These are the French people themselves paying Cote d'Ivoire to go and overthrow, because they cannot come directly. The world will scream at them. Okay. They are now using proxies. And remember, there is another state, Nigeria, which is gone, and Nigeria works. Tinubu was in Paris for 2 weeks. He doesn't go to Britain, which was the former colonial master. He goes there because people have laid warrants to pick them for human rights abuses in UK courts. So he goes now to Paris. And this Tinubu is the chairperson of ECOWAS. When the military took over, he threatened to invade these places and take over and restore civilian corrupt governments. So we have plots.
I want to talk, Dr. Matsanga, about ideological change in the leadership of the African continent through the African Union and other regional bodies on the continent, in terms of the philosophy that Captain Traore espouses. You spoke about the fact that because he is a coup leader, many people want to turn a blind eye to the good that he does. There's been a lot of conversation about military overreach, but there has also been what is being called benevolent autocracy. Do you think that there will be an ideological change where people look at the quality of leadership and not how it came about? And that is not to say the illegal usurpation of power should also be promoted.
I think time has come for African Union to reform the whole charter, because there are good military governments that have come in place, prepared the transition, exit power, handed over power, when they have stabilized their country. We shouldn't condemn. This was double standards. Look at Chad, the former chairperson of African Union. did not suspend Chad. They killed the president. They got his son. They bypassed the vice president. They never sanctioned Chad because he comes from there. Double standards. The Charter for African Union must be overhauled. This charter was made in 1963. It is simply a charter that came into effect in 2012, and it says any military government that comes through a military coup. But there are some military coups that are justifiable in Africa.
All right. Dr. Matsanga, unfortunately, we have run out of time, but I'd like us to continue this conversation. Dr. David Matsanga, political scientist and international relations expert, speaking to us about the latest coup attempt in Burkina Faso. Let's look at the time. It brings us to 14 minutes to 10. We continue with more news here on Africa World Hour. News here.